I've also debated about doing this video for like a long ass time, and I mean like a long ass time, like even last year type of long ass time to do this. But I think this is a perfect time to do it, considering what happened in New York recently too. I feel like that is like the final nail in the coffin to say what I have to say here. And I feel like I'm gonna be labeled as the anti content creator, honestly. But at this point, I feel like it needs to be said because it doesn't make any type of damn sense. And again, it might be coming off as a bitchy, and I'm just ranting about myself again. But it's just true. A lot of big content creators are just plain old weird, right? Or it's just like, how do they get into that position with all this fame and all this fortune and stuff like that? Yet do dumb things and still get support, yet someone like myself can't necessarily get it within the 3 years that they have been here, right? Going on to 4 years. And it doesn't necessarily make sense. And also, one person had, tweeted basically the same thing that I'm talking about. And it just like, yeah, that doesn't make a whole bunch of sense, right? So when it comes down to things, as you know, we often have our talking points and issues with certain content creators because a lot of the moves that they make doesn't make a shit ton of sense. And, it's just like they are doing something stupid, or they're doing something that, is like, well, I wouldn't do that if I was in that position, and it's just a bit weird at the end of all things. It is a bit weird. Whether it's something small or something big, controversial or not, it's just so strange how certain people can get over and get money in the smallest amount of ways. Yet, again, when someone like me has to put in the effort in, or someone that's a smaller creator that has to put the effort in too, it's just like, no, they don't get anything. They just get ignored and basically be looked aside. And that's weird, right? Like, for instance, and for the person I retweeted, they were talking about how basically they was trying to work hard to get their name over, and it just didn't really work out well. And then they even put me into it, where they was basically saying that we worked this long on our careers and still nothing has come through. And I agree, right? And then there was like talking about how K-Sun was grabbing on someone's boob, basically saying that this is like softcore, and like, how is this possible and this is fine? But if me or that person end up being like, we do this to ourselves, or we were to touch some boobs, then that would be like a whole controversy and stuff like that, right? And that's just a double standard thing, right? That's just like a double standard thing. And it's not fair. It's really not, honestly, because it doesn't make any sense. Because again, if a woman touches a guy in inappropriate ways, that's seen as like, oh, you should be trying to get that or something like that. But it might make the guy feel uncomfortable, and then they look at us crazy. But then when we try to do something at the same time, then that means, oh, you go to jail automatically, or you are condemned and canceled on the internet. And yeah, that's dumb. It is. And don't get me wrong, I like K-San some way, honestly. Still kind of prefer more the Coco version, but still, nonetheless, it's just like, yeah, this wouldn't fly if this was any other situation. This really wouldn't, right? And then obviously with the other dumb things that come through with this too, it's like, how do other people get away with, like, the hot tub streams on Twitch and stuff like that, or the banging on streams like that one girl did, and she's still on Twitch and whatever, and she's fine and making money, and that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense, right? And again, it just doesn't. It really doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. Again, you have people that's like very extremely supportive of these type of people and of this type of content, even though it's not like that's what kind of shouldn't just be all of what they do, yet it sometimes is what all they do, and then they still just get money and people just sending type of support, all types of supporting stuff, and it doesn't make any type of sense, even on the worst of things that they could do, and which is honestly, K-Sun is a bit tame, honestly, but still I get it. But when you have someone like Kai doing the whole New York giveaway thing, and that turned into a crazy ass fiasco, which I don't understand why he didn't get like rights and legality to be there, to host an event, but he didn't do that because stupidity. And when it comes down to things, like, you have things like that, you have other YouTuber meetups that go well, but then why does something like this happen? and there's been multiple other times where a YouTuber has done something stupid or a streamer has done something stupid or get into pointless ass arguments about reactions and shit like Muda and XQC and all these type of people. And again, it doesn't make any type of sense, right? And then you have people like me try to complain about it or try to bring it up in some shape or form, and then we automatically get either A, shut down, B, these videos don't necessarily do that damn well, or C, no one really cares at the end of the day. And to be clear, not every single big content creator is like this. Like, there's some big content creators that do things and they are doing it in a cool way and it's nice. Like, recently, just yesterday, Maximilian Dude just announced that, that KI is getting a, balance update, which the old team of Iron Galaxy, has come back to basically balance the game with Killer Instinct. And that's cool, right? Like, there's some things that other bigger content creators do or is a part of that is absolutely wonderful and should be done more and should be expressed out there more, right? And that's perfectly fine, right? But you got majority of the really, really, really big ones are always in some type of controversy, or they just, do something very stupid, or their audience is supporting it, and it doesn't necessarily make a whole bunch of sense. And the shit is too that a lot of the time they are not creative. They are not creative. They did not do anything to really get that type of response outside of, especially as a female streamer, they look cute and they're just sexy and they just do tons of lewd jokes and stuff like that, and that's what gets them over, or they play with their boobs or something like that. And for like a male streamer, they're just super over the top, maybe like trying to be like Speed, trying to burn their house down by a stupid ass firework or something like that, and that doesn't make any sense, but they still get people to support them, and it again is really ridiculous overall. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But again, the moment someone maybe try to make a video on this video or something like that, and they'd be like, and I'll be explaining like, why am I not necessarily over? Someone could be like, well, you're into lollies, or you're gonna basically just be hating ass, and you're just gonna be doing all this other stuff that no one really cares for. Yet, if you hand someone my channel that is popular, like K-Son or something like that, or Iron Mouse even, if you will, they would do the same thing if they even cared, and then they could still get over, and people would give a shit about, what they're doing, and essentially. And it doesn't, again, necessarily make any kind of sense. Anybody can be handed this channel, handed my content over to someone else, and then some reason they can blow up and do way better and get some more support than I could ever when it comes to the current state of the channel. Not saying that I don't value the people that is here, because I absolutely do. But it's just that, people will probably take my content and then just do something extra with it, or just do the same thing I'm doing and essentially just get bank off of it, and it doesn't necessarily make any kind of sense, right? Because here's the thing too, I don't do just regular content, I do shit that is different from other people, talk about different topics, and create different things that hopefully would interest people, right? If we were to just keep YouTube at a base level, where everybody has to do their own shit, there is no editors, no people to animate, no one can make your thumbnails and stuff like that, you have to do that by yourself, I guarantee you, majority of people that's at the top would have a very hard time trying to figure some shit out and do some stuff. Especially a lot of the VTubers that is out there right now, right? When it comes down to things. And because, like, how many of them can really be drawing like that, honestly? There's a few of them that can, but the majority of them probably can't draw that well. Or how many of them could put together stories and things of that sort? They probably can't, right? And if they did, it probably wouldn't be as good as a lot of other stories out there. I'm not just saying my story, but like other stories from other people that's of lower levels that has fan fictions and stuff. They probably wouldn't even do it as good as theirs is, right? And it's just, again, so strange, weird, again, how people can have all this type of money, all this type of support, yet they're the most basic people, and they don't necessarily like do anything good, right? All they have to do is cause problems, start some drama, and that's essentially it, right? It doesn't make any sense at the end of the day. And don't get me wrong, like, if I was big and I had money as well, I would like to spend it on trips and go to different conventions and, maybe buy some ridiculous things to show on video too. Like, do not get me wrong, I would absolutely do that too, but The thing is, I would be smarter about my shit and still at the end of the day consider my audience when it comes to, what they are and what they do, and, still try to be with them, right? And not ever try to see I'm bigger than them, or thinking that I'm better than my own audience, or things of the sort, right? Or try to make my audience feel poor at times, because that happens a lot in different people, right? And that's just very annoying. So, I wouldn't want to try to do anything like that. But again, you have those type of people who either just is women that just show off their body, or essentially just be sexy as shit, or just essentially just get money just because they're a female, and that's essentially it. Or you have the guys who is just dumb as shit, don't know anything, probably do not have any type of, brain cells to be using, yet they still somehow are funded and get money and support. Also, what this tells me is that people like spectacle, and this is just insanely boring, right? If you like just spectacle and just the hype train, or some big drama moment or controversial thing that they're doing is like the big pinnacle peak of humanity for you, that's the most boring piece of shit thing that anybody could say, honestly, or be looking forward to. Like, sure, I can understand maybe like, oh, groping boob, that's amazing, right? But is it me doing it? I don't necessarily feel excited by watching someone else do it. I would like to have that chance of doing it. Why don't you try to put yourself out there and just, figure something out so you can be put in a position of something that you want, instead of watching other people enjoy themselves? Because what? Honestly, it just doesn't necessarily make any kind of sense. We are looking at a whole group of people who do not work 9 to 5 jobs, who basically are able to succeed and live off of this glorious ass thing we call the internet. And at the end of the day, what? We support people because of that type of action and these type of things because we can't get there ourselves? Right? I know not everybody's gonna become a successful YouTuber, right? And I get that. But F you if you think I'm not gonna try though, right? Because I'm not here to watch someone else's spectacle. I'd rather just go ahead and do the damn thing my damn self and just see what else popping. This is probably the most big, ridiculous underdog story of all time. A man who is literally just trying to make it as a creator, to find some financial stability in their life, to basically pay their bills, pay off this dumbass mortgage that potentially is going to foreclose on their own home, versus rabbit black guy who sets his house almost on fire, or other guy that ends up trying to do a giveaway and not thinking clearly, and then, oh shit, whole bunch of people outside doing some wild things, and then, oh look, some people are trying to grab some girl's ass on top of a street light and just try to do things with that for some reason. Or like, oh, VTubers and girls try to grab on people's breasts and things of that sort, because that's perfectly fine. Or hot tub streams and things of the sort. It just is a bit ridiculous, right? It is just a bit stupid in a way. Again, where you have people with actual talent and then they don't get recognized as much. But at the end of all things, it's just weird how people can just support some type of people, and that doesn't necessarily produce any type of like actual good things for the future, or like doesn't necessarily do anything to give back, or doesn't necessarily provide any smart advice or anything of the sort that's like really good that can help benefit not just yourself but society as well. But we just got people that can comment on things all day, or just complain and bitch about things, and get tons of follows for something that's simply basic as shit logic. And oh, that's base, but not really, because everybody should know that. And it's just insanely annoying. And that's really all I can say about it. So that's essentially what I have for you for this one. Again, it's a ranty video. It's a video that probably won't get a lot of people to come through and be like, damn, he has a point, or anything like that, right? But it's just been on the mind and just been frustrating, really, because it doesn't make sense. But that's essentially all I have for you for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow me on socials and advise on this channel, Patreon is available as well. Until then, this is boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.